everybody, it's Jason Creel. You're watching The Lawn Care Life. Today I want to talk to you about fertilizer, and I'm going to demonstrate putting fertilizer out on the lawn. And what I want to do in this video, we've got some warm weather, we got some rain coming up. I want to come back in a couple weeks and see if we can actually tell a difference in the grass to see if, how quickly I can get it to green up. Today's video is sponsored by Solo. Appreciate them partnering with us. I've been using this thing right here for several years in my own business, and what I'm going to do today is that this is what I'm going to use to put the fertilizer out. But first I want to talk to you and help you understand how much fertilizer to put out on your lawn, and just understand a little bit more about fertilizer so that you don't just go out there and just kind of eyeball it and just put a little bit out and see what happens. Okay, so I've got a bag of fertilizer. We're going to go over the fertilizer, the nitrogen content, help you understand how to calculate how much to put on your lawn. Then we're going to put it out, then we're going to come back and see if we can make the grass green, what it looks like in a couple of weeks. All right, so I've got a bag of fertilizer here. This is a 3806 blend. I'm going to let you look at it. This is what we're putting out today. So you see there's white pellets and kind of teal colored aqua pellets in there. So when you're, and I'm dealing with a zoysia lawn. I did a video on this lawn before where I was spraying the weeds and trying to get rid of the weeds, and now we're gonna see if we can get it greened up. And I'm filming this in May, and like I said, we're getting some warmer weather and rain coming, so I think it's a perfect time for me to put fertilizer on this lawn. So let me talk to you about a zoysia lawn. And you can probably do a quick Google search and figure this out, but on a zoysia lawn, we're going for about 2 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. This is a 3806, so the first number is your nitrogen content. Now on my zoysia, like I said, we're going for 2 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. So what does that mean? Well, you need to know how big your yard is, and then you need to know how much nitrogen is in this bag. Now it's a 50-pound bag. The first number is 38, okay? If you take that 50-pound bag, take that first number, divide by 2, and that gives you 19, okay? There is 19 pounds of nitrogen in this bag, okay? Does that make sense? If your first number is 13, then you got 6.5 pounds of nitrogen in this bag. So what I'm trying to get across to you is not all fertilizer is the same, okay? So you might say, well, I'm gonna go get some triple 13 or some triple 8 or whatever. You're having way less nitrogen, so you need to put a lot more out to have the same effect of it greening up. The other thing I want to mention with this fertilizer, again, I showed you what it looks like in my hand. You got the teal pellets, and you got the white pellets. So the white pellets are my quick release fertilizer, so that's what's going to give that initial boost to help it green up. But the teal ones are the ones that are going to feed it, in this particular case, for about 4 months. So it's a polymer coated fertilizer, a slow release fertilizer that's going to feed it. Now why is that important? Well, let's just say you had a 3806 blend that was all quick release fertilizer. Would it make the lawn green? Yes, it would. But what's going to happen in that situation is a lot of the nitrogen is actually going to be wasted, because the grass can only use so much nitrogen, and if you put it all out in a quick release form, it's gonna max out on nitrogen, if you will, but then the rest of it's going to get wasted. This is designed to sort of feed the grass at a rate when it can actually use the nitrogen over a period of 4 months. So that's very helpful. And so what I'm getting at is that not all fertilizers create equal. Now, to the spreader that we're going to use, and these things are super handy, and one of the reasons I carry one of these on my truck for my weed control and fertilization business is because it's very versatile. I would tell people they'd actually be shocked to know how often I use this even in my business. Probably about 30% of my lawns actually use this on. You think, why is that, Jason? Why do you use it so much? Well, you think about the situations where this comes handy. Let me give you some examples. One, let's say you got a neighborhood and they've got sidewalks in the neighborhood. So you got that little strip of grass in between the curb and the sidewalk. It's about this wide. What I do oftentimes in this, one, you can, I like that I can control how fast I spin the handle. So I spin it faster, it throws a wider pattern. I spin it slower, I throw a more narrow pattern. Sometimes even I just reach my hand in there and sprinkle the fertilizer out on that little strip. So think about other times, if I'm in a situation where the yard's just real small and it's just quicker to grab this and do a small yard than it is a big yard, or you're in a situation where it literally is just too hilly to put another type of spreader on there. So in that situation, I'm gonna use this. But anyway, it actually throws a great pattern, but like any kind of fertilizer spreader, you want to make sure, as far as maintenance goes, the main thing, in my opinion, the hot tip on these things is don't leave your fertilizer in there, because you know how fertilizer is corrosive. Another thing I do, I try to hit the moving parts with I use a lubricant called fluid film. It's you know, it's a lubricant, but it sticks there a little bit longer. Seems to work great. So, you know, I'm lubricating the moving parts, not every day, but that has helped mine to stay working longer over time. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put the fertilizer in here. We're gonna spread the fertilizer. We're gonna come back and see what happens if we can make this grass green. I know it's gonna work, you know, but I wanna check back in about 2 weeks and see what happens. Just one quick note again, you know, if this is 19 pounds of fertilizer in this bag, let's say you got a 10,000 square foot yard. If you use the whole bag on a 10,000 square foot yard, you're putting 1.9 pounds of nitrogen on that lawn. Now, like I said, on zoysia, I'm wanting to go about 2 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. Well, in that situation, I'm gonna need a bag to cover about 9,500 square feet. Now, this yard's not 9,500 square feet, so I don't need the whole bag to be at that rate. So let me put it in here. This thing holds about 20 pounds of fertilizer, and we're gonna put it in here and then we're gonna start spreading. Hey. Again, the thing I want you to know about the fertilizer is this. Like I said, you go buy a fertilizer, it's high nitrogen content. That's great. It's gonna make it green, but is it gonna keep it green over the long haul? Think of it with an illustration, if I can help you understand. If you're on in the desert and somebody gives you a gallon of water, okay? And you take the gallon of water and you just chug it like this, and half of it pours on your face and down your shirt. Is that gonna quench your thirst at that moment? Of course it is, but a lot of it's got wasted because you can't just consume a gallon and it's not gonna last you the rest of the day. Now, if you had a gallon and you were able to drink it slowly as you needed it throughout the day, that's gonna be a lot better solution. So that's the whole idea behind the slow release fertilizer. Again, we're gonna come back and check on the grass and see how that works. Okay, it's been a few weeks since we put the fertilizer out, and it may be a little hard to tell on the camera, especially with the shadows. I apologize, there's not much I can do with the trees. The grass is definitely greener, and let me get down here and get a little closer look, and you can see the lawn is looking great. And I'll say this, I'm working on somebody we know's lawn on this application, and they came out and told us the other day their lawn looks better than it has ever looked before. So this is zoysia lawn. The warm weather's definitely helped, the fertilizers definitely helped. But glad to see that we did get the results we're looking for. And I expect, good thing about the slow release fertilizer is it feeds the lawn for a month. So I expect with rain and as the weather continues to warm up over the summer, that it's even going to continue to improve in color. But I'm pretty happy with the results we've gotten so far. On the spreader, I wanted to show you just a couple things and talk to you a little bit about how I use it in my own business. But this here will adjust if it throws, you know, you want to throw more to the right, you put it over here. If you want to throw more to the left, you put it here. I typically leave it toward the center because I just want an even pattern. And then you got your side deflector if you need to use that to keep from throwing into a swimming pool or flower bed or whatever you need for that. And then you'll see here this little knob, it twists and you can lock it in place, and this is how you open the hopper. open how it's going to feed down. So if I want to just open it halfway, I can lock it in halfway, and then it'll limit how far open I put it. Now for me personally, about the only time I don't have it all the way open is if I'm using like a very small granule, like a grub control product or something that's very tiny. Then it's going to feed faster through there, and I may adjust that. Normally on regular size fertilizer granules like I'm using today, I'm just going to leave it all the way open. Then I manipulate how much I'm spreading, and this is what I kind of like about the manual features of this. Is I spin fast, obviously it's going to spin faster, okay? So I'm throwing a wider pattern. If I want to spin it slow, it's going to throw a more narrow pattern. And so sometimes if I'm walking and it's a narrow little strip along in between the curb and the yard, or the sidewalk, you got a little strip of grass, well then I may close this down a little bit and go halfway with it and just spin it slow, okay, just to throw a little bit out. But if I'm out in the open and I want to cover bigger areas, then I'm spinning faster and throwing a wider pattern. And I can also adjust my own walking speed, to be able to, depending on if I want to throw a wide pattern, narrow pattern. And the idea is get an even application over the whole yard, but you adjust how fast you spin the handle, and you adjust how far open you have it to do that. So that's how that works with this particular chest spreader. Appreciate you watching the video. Appreciate Solo sponsoring the video. I will put a link to this chest mounted spreader. Like I said, this is the one I have been using in my own personal weed control fertilization business for years. They hold up well. Like I said, keep them lubricated. Don't leave your fertilizer sitting in there overnight, and use the controls and the features I've showed you so that you can become a better applicator with it. I use this on not all my yards, but on a lot of properties. I find use for this, whether they're hilly, whether they have a small gate, or maybe just a homeowner and this is the spreader you want to use for your property. Appreciate you watching. I'm Jason Creel. Leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, share the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.